What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So lately, I've been under a microscope. I've been under a microscope and I've been called a liar. I've been called a lot of stuff, right? And one of the ones that this small segment of people keep talking about is how on one incident I was involved in. All I did was hold the guy's legs, and so let's talk about it. I think it's a great opportunity for me to have a free story, but it's a good story. So let's get to it. This incident occurred in 1996 in Ad Seg, New Folsom, A5, which was the Knucklehead block, right? At the time, I was part of the leadership in Ad Seg. Somebody arrived. Back then, there was a curfew on C facility for Southerners. You only had a specific amount of time you were allowed to be there. Once you violated that time, you had an issue coming once you came to Ad Seg. And the issue itself, the punishment, I should say. The punishment was determined by your education, by your knowledge. If you've been around, you've been in the shoe, you've put in work, then you knew better. And you were going to be dealt with way more severely. And it was only a check. But it's a heart check. Will this dude get whacked? Lick his wounds? Go to the hospital? Come back? Or won't he? If it's somebody who didn't really know better, then we're going to get what was termed south-sided. He's going to have at least 2-3 people on him and get stomped out, hurt. And, that's not always better than getting whacked, I'll tell you that. But those were the punishments, the penalties for violating the curfew on C facility. Well, like I said, I was part of the leadership there in Ad Seg. And somebody came, and this dude actually knew better. He had stayed out there about a year. So when he got there, it was already determined, like, hey, this dude, he knows what time it is. He got an issue coming. So there was a shooter designated if he lands on our yard, because he has to go through the classification process. The Southerns and whites had 3 different yard groups there, as did the blacks, northerns, and others. And so he was assigned to our yard. When he was assigned to our yard, we designated a shooter, the guy that was going to whack him. On his day on yard, things went according to plan initially. Everybody busted down. He's going to need a haircut. And that's usually, if somebody was going to get whacked on those Ad Seg yards with us, at least on our yard group, the haircut time was when it was going to happen. So, someone was cutting his hair. And what we usually did back then, they don't do it now because they don't have those yard groups. When you get to Ad Seg, your hair is going to grow out because you're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days, whatever it is, to see committee and then get to yard. So you always want to look presentable. Like I said, you work them out, sit down, boom, somebody's going to shave their head. When we walk over to the sink, you're going to have the guy bend over while the other guy pours water on their head and rinses all the hair. When he's bent over, hands on his knees, that's usually when the shooter's going to slide up and whack you. It may sometimes be the guy actually that was cutting your hair and rinsing your head off. But that was when the hits would go down, normally. So I was off to the side. Everyone was off to the side. We had already let the woods know, hey, shit's gonna go down. When the shit goes down, if it goes sideways, just let us know when the shit comes out, when the mini comes out. Mini 14. So the guy goes over. He's getting his head rinsed off, and the shooter moves on him. Boom, boom, boom. He starts whacking him. The piece breaks. I remember the piece. It was a piece made out of 2 different lighters. Melted down, put a point on it, you break it, and then you remold it, you refold it, you reheat it, so that part won't break. Unfortunately, the way he was doing what he was doing, the piece wound up breaking. Now, I have an idea, a theory on why that was, but if you guys want to hear about that, that's a different story. You can let me know in the comments. Now, as he's whacking this dude, trying to whack him, and the piece breaks, the target is not a little dude. The dude's healthy. The dude has experience. The dude's dangerous. So when the hit went sideways, with zero hesitation, I jumped up and I took the threat off his feet. Picked him up and slammed him into the ground. Wrapped him up. While other people started jumping up and down on his head. You know, it's funny how people are making it like it's a lesser thing. This man almost died. This was a chick. This man was almost killed. He had puncture wounds in him. He had brain trauma. His head swelled up like a damn pumpkin. And that was just a check. But the funny thing is, again, this wasn't my hotline. I was part of the leadership. You know, and the people that have said, oh, Dubs lied about doing a hotline with a legend. One of the people that was involved in that hit is a legend right now. Currently. So I laugh when people speak on me. See, I lie. That man sees these videos. But you don't ever hear them say he's lying about that. That never happened. No, it's people that were never there. They broke out the Mini 14 on us because we wouldn't stop. They initially tried to charge us with attempted murder. That was the initial 115, and we all refused to sign it under duress. We played the game. I remember, those of you that remember Old Folsom, New Folsom, there was an old lieutenant. They used to call him Lieutenant Psycho. Dude was a nut. And I remember at the 115 hearing, he found us guilty. Well, I can only speak for myself. He found us all guilty individually. But I remember going to my 115 hearing and he said that I was guilty of attempted murder. Because if they wouldn't have brought the Mini 14 out, we would have killed him. He doesn't know that. Was he wrong? No. But legally, we filed a 602. We did our thing and then got it dropped down to like an assault with great bodily injury or something like that. But the moral of the story is, prison is extremely brutal. Remember, this is something where he was just getting checked. The problem is, once people get going, you get in that zone, you get that tunnel vision, you know that gunner's probably going to bust on us. He's shooting the block gun. They shot like 10 rounds with the block gun, and it was that lieutenant that told him. I remember hearing it clearly. They're killing him. Bring out the Mini. And I remember hearing him chamber the round. and the woods started yelling for us. They got the shit. They got the shit. And so that was what stopped this. You know, I was a monster back then. We all were. We were doing the devil's work without any hesitation. You know, speaking of this, how this wasn't my hit. This was somebody else's hit. Again, zero hesitation. Got involved. Scooped this dude off his feet. Slammed him. That's what's supposed to happen. Eliminate the threat. Go to work. You know, the crazy thing is, the reason why I was in AdSeg in the first place, again, there was an incident that happened with the Bulldogs over a basketball game. I wasn't on the basketball court. I was away from the basketball court. Saw the argument starting. Made my way towards the basketball court. Soon as it jumped, bam, I was there. And in that incident, I was shot at by 5 Block, CO Best. Why? Because I wouldn't stop. And it wasn't my business. It wasn't my hotline. So people can say whatever they want. But I was sick with it. I'm glad I'm no longer that monster. Somebody who would not hesitate to jump in and put his life on the line over a basketball game or over a dude that stayed on the yard too long. You know, my channel is mainly to focus on the realities of criminal lifestyles, the reality of the prison lifestyle, the brutality of both, the fact that at the end of the day, there's no love. You can do all the right things. You can do a million things right. Do one thing wrong, though. Wrong according to some people. Not even everybody. Yet, you could stay out here, learn how to be a productive member of society, represent your last name, represent your family, provide for the people that love you the most and care about you the most, and it's way more fulfilling. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.
Welcome to Vario Liquors, home of the coldest beer in the 209, chilled to a perfect 32 degrees. From mix and go drink kits to both classic and exotic spirits, we've got something for everyone. Visit us at 1870 Countryside Drive, Turlock, California. Catch you at the Vario.